So let's get started. Again, chat, we're going to be doing my summer predictions. This is something I do every single year with us. And technically, per the dev zone statements, you can do this right after the end of the current summer event. You can predict what next year's are, or at least you used to be able to. You see, the devs used to have a set of rules with how they went about this. Now they've kind of over time proven that those rules are more like guidelines, aka they'll definitely bend it when they want to. In fact, every single one of the rules, I believe, has pretty much been broken now, but there are some trends that we can look at that largely hold up over time. For instance, one of those trends, and this was an old rule basically that they said, is that they didn't like to make a summer unit out of a impactful unit, someone that had just been featured in story very prominently, because they felt like then suddenly seeing that unit in a bikini kind of cheapened that for them. Now, again, this is an interesting thing because that would also preclude any sort of new unit. We had never had a new unit in summer prior to last year. And then all of a sudden out popped Lady Avalon. So that now technically is here, but obviously I can't predict a unit that doesn't exist yet. So that is just going to have to be a giant asterisk that if they come out with a new unit, there is nothing I can do to try and predict it. So we're just going to work kind of with some of the units that we already have. Again, like I said, I've been doing this for years, and some of the parameters that I look at are, again, that, hey, I just got involved in story. Hey, I, maybe have already had a summer form. And so you guys can actually see right now, you're staring at the men's section, which I'll be dealing with later. This doesn't mean that they're out of the running or anything like that. We're going to be predicting the male costumes as well. But basically that we have a group here for everybody that has already had a summer form, because that largely holds true. Now, there is some nuance to this. For instance, we can sit here and basically say that, like, Nero Caster is obviously a summer unit, right? But Nero Caster is actually the summer form of Nero Bride, not OG Nero. So technically OG Nero could still get a summer form, but that's a weird one. And I don't think they're going to go back to OG Nero before handling some other units. So they might. I'm sure it would be popular if they did, but it's an interesting thing to consider. Similarly, you have units like the Saber Faces where multiple forms of them have had, obviously, their summer forms. So, like, for instance, Squirtoria is the summer form of Artoria. Maid Altar is the summer form of Salter. So, yes, even though Artoria does have different faces, each one of them can have a summer form, but it doesn't mean that you're going to see, like, say, MHX, who alree has MHXX as a summer form. You're probably not going to see another summer form of MHX. You might see one of MHXA, but not of MHX. So that's where, again, it just depends on whether or not the units already had it. Similarly, there's been some other trends with regards to, we used to have a pretty much like Wada Arco type trend. We used to have a trend about like berserkers getting turned into lancers. We also used to have a trend of whoever was featured on the 4-star CE, for instance, had a tendency to become a summer unit the next year, and really any CE. So that is one of the ones I will look at. You will see me talk about that. Like if they've been featured on a craft essence, it's going to make them a little bit more likely in my book. But remember, all of this is just my opinion. This isn't fact. This is just me trying to guesstimate. I have had a pretty good track record with this. In the past, I actually have successfully guessed 10 out of 10 units. Or again, managed to get like only one of them wrong. What I consider to be success is my basic 3-tier system here. So I'm going to rank some units up here in highly likely. Those are the ones that I think are actually going to be coming this year. If I don't, and I will explain why I'm going to put them in there. But if a unit doesn't land in that, but does end up as a summer unit this year, that's a whiff on my part. So almost every single unit that I haven't correctly called was someone instead that was in the likely category. I think only once or twice have I gotten someone in the unlikely category, obviously not including Proto Merlin, because again, Lady Avalon coming into the game was something that really no one was going to predict that as a summer unit on the outset until we already had more info. So again, there has been some trends, there have been rules, but those rules have kind of been bent and broken, so we're not going to pay too close of attention to it. But let's go ahead and start out from the get-go. And again, you guys are going to see me kind of talking about what I think is going to happen here. So right off the bat here, we've got a Saberface here with Lily. Now, I think Lily is a unit that could happen. I think you're very likely to see a Saberface this year for the simple reason that there hasn't been one since Okitan in year 6. And even before that, there hasn't been an Artoria, I think, since like, oh God, was it Double X? I'd have to think about the last one, but still, this is going to sound really weird that I'm putting her up here in likely. For a Saberface to be in likely is actually pretty much an unlikely, but you'll see. I will talk about that here in a minute. Same thing with Umu. I actually think Umu is unlikely. The whole reason why is kind of like we talked about. I don't see them coming back trying to hit Umu again. Also because it's entirely possible that due to her being featured somewhat maybe in the arcade collab, it's probably unlikely that they didn't just flip around and make her a summer unit, but they could. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. Altera is another interesting one. Now, I think if we look at Altera, she's definitely going to be featured in Grail Live here. She might be featured upcoming in certain things, but I think you could actually see Altera coming out as a summer unit this year. She does have that costume, but I see no reason that she couldn't. And this is sort of one of those overdue year 1 waifus that, yeah, there's really no reason they can't make her a summer unit at this point. So now we get to Atalanta, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when we get to Atalanta Alter, but you have some units out there that haven't been touched at all for summer. They maybe have multiple forms. They maybe have a OG and an Alter. Typically, I have a tendency to side with the OG unit before the Alter, but that may be up for grabs, up for debate at some point. But I think Altera is a highly likely style of unit here as we start to move on. Urail, so I often have a tendency to put in a younger character in the highly likely categories. The reason for this is basically the trends that they have done over time. We've seen units like Ilya, like Eris kind of get in there and be a featured summer unit. So you're not going to see me just picking all the big titty waifus and stuff like that as our go-to units. But in this case, I think Urail could happen. I don't really see Urail. I don't think she's up there in that highly likely category to me. Now, I'm going to do this, and I did this basically the prior 2 years, but this always ends up getting chat really on edge. But yes, I actually do think a day is coming where you're actually going to see an Ellie that gets a summer form, and it'll be of OG Ellie. Like, I don't think it's going to be of like Mecha Ellie or something like that. But this is coming with a gigantic asterisk that it obviously will not be the case if like they're already planning Ellie to be in Halloween this year. So because we just had an Ellie for Halloween last year, maybe they get her out of Halloween this time and they throw her into something else. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen, but I think that day is coming someday, right? And so to me, they could pull the trigger on this any year they want to. I see nothing to stop it. I see nothing to get in the way of it. And again, this would still be popular because there are a lot of people out there that do like Ellie, memes aside. Medusa. I don't know how many times I've seen people actually sit there and say that they just want a summer Medusa form, but I agree with them. And this would be one of those ways to get an SSR version of her too if they really wanted. I think that would trend amazingly well. You'd get so many people to roll for that. I see no problem with them actually doing Medusa as a summer unit. Now, the problem with this is, though, would they actually do it? Would they actually go back to one of the waifus that they seemingly have neglected for pretty much since like Babylonia at this point? So I don't know. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, but that could be a thing. Yeah, you're gonna, in a similar fashion, you're gonna get me to call Boudica every single year, pretty much until it happens. Boudica is another one of those highly demanded units where even though she's a 3-star, if they just manage to work her in there as like some sort of 4-star or something like that, people will roll. People will roll to see Boudica in a bikini, doubly so if she's like an edgy Avenger or something like that. Absolutely, people would roll for that. Medea, again, this is another 3-star that I think has really high odds of happening, if only from the standpoint of this is another like sorely missed, untouched waifu from year one. She's one of the original, just like in Medusa's case, Fate Stay Night characters. I can't believe they haven't given her a summer form after 7 years. So it's kind of crazy to me in that regard. All right, next up here is Satheno. She's pretty much in the same boat as Urael. In fact, you might actually see if they were to ever do a summer form, they might do a tandem unit of those two. But I still think that someone like Medusa is going to be far more likely than either of those two for getting a summer form first. Jinki, I gotta be honest, I don't really see Jinki. They could, I just don't think Jinki is super popular. I don't think she's that unit that everyone's gonna go after or anything like that. So to me, she's kind of in that unlikely category. Now, here we go. This is another interesting one. We got to witness Charlotte Corday in the past actually kind of ascend from low star status. So do I think it's entirely possible that you could see a Matahari? Yeah, I'm actually going to put Matahari up in highly likely. If there's any 1-star that I think can get it, I think it's her. I think they absolutely can flip around and do it. And that would be kind of funny because it would get a lot of people being like, wait, it's another low star assassin. Here we go again. Tomacat, I don't really see Tomacat. I'll just be honest with you right now and say out of the Tamamos, out of those types of units, like I think you're going to be more likely to see someone like Koyanskaya or something like that. I could put her up here in likely, but I just actually feel like this one is unlikely. Now, this is another interesting one. We basically had Lady Avalon come in, and technically Orion is male, and I should have Orion grouped all the way up here in the male category. So why do I have Orion down here? Because what if we got a summer Artemis? I don't think it's super likely, but I think that would actually sell really well. I think you would see a lot of people being like, holy crap, I actually really like that. It'd also be another way to bring back another Greek god and that sort of stuff. So I think they actually could pull that one off. And I don't think you'd see very many people getting upset. Doubly so if Orion is still there and it's still considered a male serpent. You might even see something like this as a male costume. And that would be a really weird cop-out. I think you would actually get some of the people angry at Lasengle for doing that as a male costume. But if they ran it as an actual female unit and emphasized that it was Artemis, just with Orion tagging along, I think they could definitely sell that one. All right, chat. Just like I said, hey, I think it's actually likely that Ellie gets it one of these years here. I don't see any of the other Ellie forms ever getting a summer costume because they've already covered Carmilla. So to me, they already went down that path once. I don't see it ever happening to any of the spin-offs, basically. Drake, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. And I know the devs have heard this. Drake got robbed in Summer 6. You guys will see what I mean this year on NA as we start going through that summer event. But Drake was teased for that event. Drake was a perfect fit for that event. The fact that Drake was not a summer unit in that event astounds me to this day. I think Drake's another really popular unit. I absolutely could see Drake getting a summer form. All right, next up here is Medea Lily. So there's an interesting thought process that in a lot of ways, like someone like Medea Lily basically paired up against Medea that the devs tend to prefer Medea Lily because she's FGO's version of Medea. That being said, I don't see this one at all. It could be a cutesy one, but I don't really know what role she would fulfill. I don't know what they would try to do with her as a summer unit because she's always been a tickle monster basically as a healer. So unless you're just making her a healer in another class, I don't really see this. To me, this would probably be a pretty uninspired unit, but maybe they do. Next up here is Nursery Rhyme. I think this is like possibly the most unlikely of summer females. It's actually a book. So I mean, maybe they could. Maybe they can make it to where she's some sort of summer dojin from summer 3, but that would be lewd. So they could. I just think this one would be a really weird fit, and I don't really think there's a lot of demand for it. All right. You guys want a lolly? Jack. Jack is highly likely as a lolly. Jack is featured in Summer Craft Essences. I still have no idea why they've managed to actually skip over Jack all these times. So yeah, it is what it is. Obviously, I'm not all about the lollies. I'm more of a plot type of guy myself. But no, I think it's inevitable that you're going to see Jack get a summer form at some point. Now, the real question with regards to Jack is, would the summer form have more or less clothes? I gotta be honest, unless they plan on using Lalter somewhere deeper into like Ordeal Call or something like that, Lalter is a fan favorite. Lalter is one of those units, as far as the saber faces go, that people have been asking for years. And it's basically only been the fact that they have started to kind of not do any of the big three as much that has caused, you know, Lalter basically to fall off that list every single year. So I think this is a really obvious one. It's a really obvious pick. And don't worry, I know it seems like my highly likely list is getting bloated. There are going to be a lot of highly likely choices because I think they are just really popular, really easy sells. But there's still going to be decent balance with this, and I'll tweak it at the end if I have to. Now, next up we got Shiki. It's an interesting one. I think you could see a summer Shiki. I don't really see it though, outside of like some special circumstances. So while it is popular, it could definitely sell. I'm not putting it up in that highly likely category. So I'm literally going to end up putting Void and our welfare Shiki here in just the likely category. And that is, again, with a big asterisk of, hey, they need to like actually make that one work. They need to explain that one. Nightingale is another way to bring a lot of love to a character that is largely forgotten and honestly maligned by a lot of the player base at this point. Nightingale has an amazing CE from all the way back in Summer 1. I definitely think they could turn Nightingale into a summer unit and people would go crazy. That being said, she has already had an actual welfare form in her Christmas form. That would be another interesting thing to see. Would they actually double back on that? 100 abs, I'm going to be honest here and say I don't really see 100 abs actually getting a summer form. This to me, it's kind of like Jinki, where it's a 3-star. It's not a super popular 3-star. I don't really think there's a lot of demand for it. I don't really think it would sell that well unless they really blew it out of the water in terms of design. Iris Veil. So I would love to have Iris Veil summer. I think she is popular. I think she would absolutely sell. That being said, I don't see Iris Veil summer happening. I just, as much as I would love that, I don't see it happening. Mostly because then they have to start dabbling in, again, the whole like Fate Zero type of stuff again. That'd be great if they did, though. I think that would honestly be, you know, again, something that this game could use more of a little bit, is more nostalgia trips rather than them constantly doing new stuff and kind of getting away from the old stuff they did that made the game popular. I think if they actually revisit this, if they actually start pulling back in characters that everyone loves, then yeah, it's actually a good thing for them, not a bad thing. Now shooting, I gotta be honest, Ibuki was one of the ones I missed, and I didn't miss Ibuki because I didn't think Ibuki wasn't going to get a summer form at some point. I missed Ibuki because I thought Shootin' was going to get a summer form first. However, since Ibuki got a summer form last year, I have to move Shootin' down to unlikely. I don't see them coming back the very next year and doing Shootin'. To me, Shootin' was someone that I've had in the past and highly likely. But because they just did Ibuki, I think you're going to get at least a 1-year cool off period before they come back and do that. Sanzang? Yeah, no, I think they could still run Sanzang. I've had a lot of people say before that, you know, she's in a bikini. A lot of people really like Sanzang. A lot of people like her personality. Bikini be damned. And again, she is in summer CEs, including a 4-star. And from that same 4-star CE, John got made into a summer unit. So it is possible that they could just double dip back and bring Sanzang in. And I think that'd be perfect. I think there's no reason not to. Serenity. This is another interesting one. As far as 3-stars go, yeah, I think this one has some major potential. I think Serenity is a very beautiful assassin. They could easily throw her in a bikini or a swimsuit of some sort and be like, don't touch. So there's a lot of like interesting stuff I think they could do with that. And it would probably be a pretty popular one that I think would get a lot of people to roll for. Again, her outfit in Grail Live, her theme in Grail Live was fairly popular. She was a good choice for the Grail Live event. So pretty much any one of those Grail Live idols could definitely flip around now a couple of years later and be a summer unit. Da Vinci. So this one is in the most unlikely of unlikely categories now for 2 reasons. One, Da Vinci is prominently featured and the welfare in Summer 6. Again, you guys can see right up here at the top of the screen, it was DVR that ends up getting the summer form. So technically Da Vinci could as well, but just in the same way that I don't think Umu's likely to get it, I don't think Da Vinci's likely to get it either. On top of that, the second point I was going to make is literally in the Famitsu interview, the cover they used to preview Summer 6 had Da Vinci and Da Vinci back to back. So the fact that they already teased it and then didn't do it tells me I don't think they're ever going to do that. They basically missed their chance to do it. Now, Kuro. Yeah, I'm actually surprised this hasn't already happened. I am surprised at this point that you've had other units get it. Because again, Prisma Ilia, it is a popular thing. I could definitely see them giving Kuro an actual summer form. Now, again, same thing with Brave Liz. Brave Liz is not happening, not as a summer unit. Cleo is highly likely. Cleo is prominently featured in redrop art. I think Cleo is another one of those units where she maybe isn't the most prolific unit you see people using nowadays. She's a limited unit. She's not had the like best farming performance, but Cleo's strengths lie more in challenge and carding. So I understand that. She's a really good unit in that regard. That being said, I think a lot of people really like Cleo, and I have no doubt that people wouldn't like to see her in a bikini. So yeah, the fact that she has been featured in summer art before, the fact that redrop drew her and everyone really liked it, this is another easy win for the devs. If they actually end up giving us summer Cleo, people will roll. Janta. Janta is, again, to me, one of the like super unlikely saber faces. They could do it. There's just some really more obvious choices for the time being. Next up is Ketz. Now, Ketz has already had the ruler form for Christmas. They could do that, but she's already been featured in the first Evocation Festival. I think, to me, well, yeah, they definitely could. They definitely should. I get the feeling Ketz is not this year. So Ketz, historically, for me, has been highly likely, but I have another ulterior reason for why I'm not putting that one up in highly likely. So now you've got Anna, and this kind of goes in the same lines as Gorgon, but I don't think Anna's very likely to get a summer form. Doubly so not over the OG Medusa. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Now, OG Medusa, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is, to me, probably neck and neck with Gorgon is probably neck and neck with OG Medusa. Okay. So the reason why is, again, Gorgon is a popular unit. I definitely see them going after the sex appeal of that unit. I think it's more likely that they probably go with Medusa, but yeah, I'm going to kind of hedge my bets here and say it's going to be one or the other of one of these two. Taiga. God, I would love a Taiga Summer. I think Taiga Summer would sell really well. However, they missed Year of the Taiga. So they could do it. I think that would actually be a hit unit, but I don't really necessarily see them doing it. Mostly because, again, she's another one of those forgottens. MHXA. So again, you guys are about to go into Grail Live. You're about to get Welfare Mixa. How many of you wouldn't like to see MHXA in a swimsuit? This, to me, really high up there involving these two. One of the two of them probably getting a summer form. Maybe both, but probably not. I don't think they're going to go back to doing double saber faces in the same year again. Cha-Cha Summer, never. At least I hope not. I hope at some point, if they ever do Cha-Cha, they do an adult form of Cha-Cha. Passion Lip. So Passion Lip's another interesting one. I've heard a lot of people over time say, hey, but Cad, Passion Lip actually says that she wants a swimsuit. Fun fact, a lot of characters out there actually say that they want swimsuits in various one-off comments at times. She has been featured in a summer event, in Summer 4 particularly. That had me highly ranking her for a while. Now, I don't really see her being the Sakura face of choice that's going to get a swimsuit. I can definitely put her in the, hey, this could happen category, but I'm not putting her up in highly likely. JK Fox. Oh yeah, this is another easy one. Now, this does depend on Arcade. Like, do we actually end up getting the Christmas units from Arcade at some point? If we do, then that definitely bumps JK Fox down. But otherwise, yeah, no, that would be another really easy popular one. And again, she is prominently featured on an actual Summer Craft Essence. Scheherazade. I don't think Scheherazade's super popular. I wouldn't mind seeing her in a bikini, but she's kind of already in a bikini. I think this one could definitely happen. It's not unlikely, but I don't really think it's highly likely, really. Summer Penth. Man, I know some people that would just really like to see the abs on Summer Penth, but I feel like that would be a nightmare of a summer, because it would be anyone that tried to compliment Penth would immediately just get absolutely smashed by her flails again. So they could, but again, with regards to like Summer 6 here and Achilles' involvement in that, yeah, I think they kind of missed their mark. I think that's the one where they were going to do it if they were going to. So to me, Penth is only in that like likely category. Same thing, she already had the entire CEO Amazonas Tower event centering around her. But hey, who knows? Bunyan Summer, I mean, it could happen. I don't really think it's going to happen. Parvati as a summer form? You bet. Absolutely. That is one of the highest Sakura faces at this point I can see getting a summer form. I think it's an easy one to do. And I'm actually kind of shocked that they hauled out Summer Kama before Parvati. That being said, Summer Kama's great. I love her. I'm not surprised that they did her so much as I'm shocked that they did her before doing Parvati. And that would honestly be great too, because you can basically have Parvati come in and scold Kama. Chiome, I think Chiome could happen. I don't think Chiome is all that likely to happen. This one's just kind of going in the likely category, but it's not highly likely to me. Same thing, Kato Danzo here. I really like Kato Danzo. I think they could do Robo Mom in a swimsuit and it would absolutely work. But I think she's just kind of in that likely category. Now, again, I think both of these have actually been featured in Summer Craft Essences. It's just they're harder sells. They could do it, but will they do it? I don't know. The Mecha Ellies, again, I just don't see this happening. Cersei, man, I feel like they could do Cersei. I feel like Cersei would be popular, but they already had the Aegean Spring Breeze again. That pretty much is her event. And like low key was like a beachy summer event. So yeah, I mean, I guess they could, but it's for that reason that I'm only going to put her into the likely category. Nezha, I mean, we have had Summer Fran. That has been a thing, but like, I mean, Nezha mostly just grunts most of the time. I gotta be honest, I don't really see Summer Nezha. Midrash. That would be nice. I would definitely like to see a Summer Midrash. I think they could. It really depends on the style of event that they're going for and how they would want to work her in. But I just don't know, right? Like, that could be a thing. Do I put her in the likely or the highly likely? I think for now I'm going to put her in the likely category. Erish, we'll just go ahead and put her in the male costumes category. Now, I have to unfortunately give some tough news to everybody from the Erish category here. They did just give her a costume. She is in LB7. I don't think it's this year. And feel free to declare me wrong, but I have had Erish up in highly likely for the past 4 years. I'm gonna do you all a solid and move her out of highly likely just so that y'all can point the finger when she actually does get a summer form. Fair, but I'm greedy. Exactly. Now, next up here, you've got Altera the Santa, aka the Santa welfare Christmas form, right? Like, yeah, definitely Altera, but I don't see Altera the Santa getting the summer form. Semiramis, I can definitely see Semiramis. I don't think Semiramis is super likely. While I do think it's possible, that part of the thing that I've heard over the years is that apparently the Japanese community isn't the biggest fan of Semiramis. So I don't actually know. And if that is partially true, then I wonder if they would stay away from her for that reason. This also might be one of the reasons why she hasn't gotten buffs over the years. I don't really know. That's conjecture on my part. So again, just this is my gut instinct, is that she could happen, but I don't think she's super likely. Fujino is another really interesting one. I'm going to kind of like basically say, hey, this one is basically just like the Shikis. Absolutely could see it happening. But will it? All depends on whether or not they pull the trigger on this. So we already had OG Atalanta up here. We have Atalanta Alter. I'd love to see a summer form of Atalanta Alter, but I think Atalanta is the more likely to occur. Now, again, maybe they flip-flop it on me, but I'm going to bet on the OG before betting on the Alter for right now. Seatonai, well, we did already have Summer Ilya. I do think a Summer Seatonai could happen, but I don't think it's highly likely to happen. Caster shooting. If shooting is not like insanely likely this year, then caster shooting definitely isn't. Caster shooting's definitely going in the unlikely. Ken Leong Yu. I really like Ken Leong Yu. I would not mind seeing Ken Leong Yu in a summer outfit, and she is in a summer CE from Summer 5. I think that could be like a really dark horse candidate for one. For right now, I'm going to throw her in likely. I might adjust that, though. Bradamante, this is another unit. She's featured in the 5-star CE from Summer 4. She is definitely a unit that I think some people would like to see a Summer 4 of. This would be a new way to sort of breathe life back into Bradamante as well, and like get a lot of people kind of talking about her and really enjoying her again. Doubly so in the face of them releasing, you know, Burrito Mart and stuff like that. So yeah, I actually can see this. I actually can see this one really happening. It would depend on what they tried to do, though. Again, same thing with Kets. If I didn't mark Kets high, I'm certainly not marking Santa Kets high. Benny as a summer unit. So Benny has been featured on a summer CE, interestingly enough. I don't really see Benny as super likely, though. I think they could. I think Benny would probably not be the case. Also, Benny kind of has been recently featured. So I'm just going to kind of hold off on that one and say not this year. Miyu. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to go ahead and put it right up next to Kuro because either one of the two of these could happen. Absolutely. I think literally between these two and Jack, those are your three most likely underage characters right there. Now, King Protea. This is like same thing with like Passion Lip. I'm just really not seeing it. And I'm actually going to move King Protea down into the unlikely category. Reigns. I could see a Reigns. I really could. I don't know that they will. Like, I could definitely see them making a summer unit out of her, but I get the feeling they might do more with Reigns for something if they ever do additional stuff for case files. Similarly, along those lines, I think someone like Estrella would be far more likely to get a summer form. That being said, we already do have Summer Martha, who is her like direct competition. I don't know that I really see this. I'm gonna put her in the likely category, but she's not super likely. Gray. Gray is a saber face. Gray could. Gray's in that unlikely category until some of the other saber faces get attention. Janako, man, that would be an interesting one. I don't know that I really want to see a stone statue in a bikini. This one's a really odd choice to me. I could see it, but not really at the same time. Plus, what are you going to make Janako if not a moon cancer? I'm not going to say they can't make her something else, just that like she's pretty like adamant that that is her role and she is not a very active person. So I really wonder, outside of being a hacker, basically, is she going to actually do much of anything? Archer, clearly. Okay, so like Asaka Bahime. John De Archer, aka Lakshmi. Lakshmi could definitely happen. I think Lakshmi is one of your more likely saber faces. I don't really see Lily because, and I'll be honest with you here, I may reevaluate Lily in a minute, but I could definitely see it. I don't think it's super high, but I don't think anyone would be upset to see Lakshmi in a bikini. Wow, Mao Nobu. So, the only issue with Mao Nobu is that the first form is female. It's the OG Nobu. The third form is Mommy Nobu, which I would definitely like to see in a bikini. Hot damn. But the second form is male. So this would be a weird one, kind of in the same lines as like Orion out there. I think like, yeah, no, this is actually something they could do. I would love to see it. But I don't know if they're going to do it, right? Doubly so because Nobu already has had a summer form of her OG. Nagao Kagatora? Yeah, I could absolutely see Nagao Kagatora. That's a super popular character, super popular VA. If they did want to actually bring her back and do something, I think that would be a hit, and I think you could get so many people to roll for that. Getting so many people to roll for basically Uesugi Kenshin in a bathing suit. Salome. Salome could definitely be another low star candidate. I'm going to put Salome up here in the likely category. I could definitely see that one happening. Oh, man. Space Ishtar. Space Ishtar as a summer unit. And not just Space Ishtar as a summer unit. Space Ishtar as a summer unit potentially before Erish. Oh man, that would be all kinds of fucked up. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I actually can. Now, would she be an Avenger? No, she would be something else different at that point. But I could definitely see them trying to popularize that on that sort of stuff. And again, like I said, last year we didn't have a Saber face, we didn't have a Rin face, and we didn't have a Sakura face at all. So to me, that's kind of a whiff if you don't have any of the big three as any of your units in a summer. They don't have to every single time, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them come back and actually do something. And who knows? Maybe you guys get to finally thank me for taking for not cursing you and taking Erish out of the highly likely category. Calamity Jane. I can see Calamity Jane. She's kind of right there in the same breath as like, hey, yeah, you could see it in response to Space Ishtar. Maybe one's the 5-star, the other's the 4-star on the banner, right? Again, she's a Genki gal. She's super nice, super happy. I think they could easily do something like that, but she kind of already is in a bikini top. I don't know. That'd be an interesting one. Nightingale Santa's not happening as your summer unit. Europa, I think Europa Summer's a highly unlikely unit. Yang. Oh yeah. Featured on a Summer Sea, one of the most prolific ones ever. I know so many people that would roll for How Summer. It's not even funny. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that one. Castor and Pollux are another interesting one, like Artemis, like Maonobu, where this could be a weird thing if they wanted to do like a male/female hybrid. The males in his swim trunks, the females in a bikini. Yeah, I could see that actually. That would not be that crazy of a thing to me. So I'm gonna put that in likely, but not, again, that's a really out there type of thing. It really depends on what direction they want to go. Dino Waifu as a summer unit. I'm sure there's plenty of people that want to be vored by a T-Rex in a bikini. I am not one of those people. Castoria as a summer unit. And now I can take this and I can move this to unlikely, because this is more likely than that to occur. Definitely can see that. Himiko. Oh man. Himiko Summer would definitely sell. I could see that one. And in fact, we actually get, I think it's one of her like travelogue type craft essences, one of the anniversary ones, if I remember correctly, where she's basically in a vest and a bikini. And like, yeah, I could definitely see people rolling for the pits of summer. Definitely. Van Gogh as a summer form. So she has been featured in not a bikini, in a one piece, a bathing suit. I could see it. I don't think it's necessarily a super likely thing. So yeah, I could definitely see it. But Vitra is a lot along the same lines. I actually really like Vitra's design. I don't think anyone would mind seeing her in a bikini, but like, I think she's just in that likely category. Now, we have already had Ushi Summer. How much of a stretch is it to think Tyra Summer? Oh yeah. I'm going to put her into likely for now. Already did it, I see. Kichi Hogan, I don't think you're seeing Kichi Hogan as the welfare. Karen as a summer unit. Oh man, as long as it doesn't include the creepy baby form. Please, dear God, not the creepy baby form. I could see this. I could see this being popular. I think it would sell well. I don't think they're gonna pull that this year though. I think they'll sit on that one until they want to do something in conjunction with like Hollow Ataraxia or something like that. Who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong on that. Galatea. They can. I feel like Galatea is still on the relatively new side on JP compared to a lot of these other options. I don't really feel that one right now. I don't know why. I don't really feel it. Miss Crane. I, for one, would love to see it. I think that'd be great. I think this has high potential because she's got a beautiful design and she's kind of wholesome, kind of degenerate. You guys will see that in the Idol event. This is an interesting one. I kind of want to put her here, but we'll see. Mixa, I think Mixa is in the same way, like you're far more likely to see MHXA over actual Mixa the welfare form. All right. Why don't we skip these? I'm just kidding. Morgan Le Fae. Morgan Le Fae did not get a summer unit this year. Okay. It has now been more than a year out from LB6. I think everyone and their brother wants this to be a thing. And it might actually be a thing this year. This is, I have to predict it because it's so popular. But I'll be honest with you guys and say my gut instinct has her down here. But I'm going to put her up in highly likely because I think they're going to cave just due to the popularity and the potential payday that a Morgan Summer can bring in. But the reason that I would put her in a likely category instead is they really have milked her. They absolutely did just give her her own lotto event. And that was her 4th banner in 2 years. So doubling down yet again in 2.5 years and giving her a 5th banner, and she's a summer unit basically, not just her original form. That might be too much. They might give her a rest a little bit, but we'll see. I still think they'll just be like, man, no, that's too good of a payday to pass up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this for literally both of these. I think both of these are also highly likely. However, I do not think you get all 3 of these units in 1 year. I think you maybe get 2. And they maybe hold off. So decide which one you actually want to see. But that's kind of my thing here. Mel, I could see Mel. Mel is super popular. I think it's probably going to be from one of these 3 though. Melisson screams welfare summer. I could see something like that. Koyenskaya. Now, this may be a little too soon, especially post Tunguska. Okay, but we are over a year out from that. In fact, NA is closer to Tunguska than JP is. So yeah, I see this being more likely than Tamamo Cat. Now, Habitrot, I'm not seeing a summer Habitrot. Demole, still a little bit on the more recent side. Could see it. Probably not this year. Zenobia, oh, I would love to see a summer Zenobia. God, like her original form is already hot enough as it is. I don't know what the hell they would do with that. I don't think you're seeing a summer Zenobia this year, though. I don't know why. Something just tells me probably not. But you know what? I'll put her up in the likely category. How about that? Cinderella is not happening. Okuni. Okuni was kind of just featured as part of the Chaldea Boys event, so I don't think Okuni's this year. Ranmaru, I don't think Ranmaru's likely to get one. Like just in general, not for a while at least. Nikitic, again, probably on the too soon category. So one of their other rules basically was like typically no one that's been out for less than a year was one of their rules. So I think you're now getting into the like realm of, yeah, some of these are too close to call. Technically Koyanskaya of Dark isn't, but I think Koyanskaya is far more likely than Koyanskaya of Dark. Just saying. Hephaestion, I'm not seeing it. God, I want to see this. I really want to see this. So badly do I want to see this, but not this year. I don't think it'll be this year. Trung Sisters not this year. Bunyan not this year. You're not seeing the rats. You're not seeing that. I wouldn't mind a Cream Hill, but not this year. Now. Let's be very real here. We just got done talking about Morgan Le Fae and how the devs will probably cave to pressure and do her this year. This is literally a, hey, give me all the money. All the money. I want to see Arcuite in a swimsuit, right? And I think everyone and their brother does. That being said, not this year. Oh, not male costume. There you go. Next up, we have again, Bakin. Bakin's too soon. I don't really see it. Shufu, there'd definitely be some people that don't want to see Shufu, but not this year. Sen, I don't feel it on Sen. Io, I think you're gonna see Himiko before you ever see Io. Too soon. God, yes, but too soon. God, yes, but too soon. I would like Tlaloc. I think Tlaloc would look really good in a bikini. I think there'd be some fun stuff. Fuck yes. I want to see that. And then yeah, Space Pope Coast to Coast. Definitely not going to be one this year. But okay, so that's all the females. Okay, and they are now quote unquote grouped. So what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to move all of this junk down. Okay. And then I'm going to go grab the men. The men. And we're going to talk about the men. Now, I definitely don't evaluate the men on nearly as high of a scale as I do the females. And the reason for this is, one, not nearly as much has been said about the deliberation for how they choose male costumes. Two, it's also entirely likely that some year they could just totally up in this system and throw out a male servant instead of an actual costume. So that's possible. And then three is, we haven't had it still really where there's noticeable patterns, where there's really any rhyme or reason to it. Again, we had Doman featured in Summer 6 and get a banner in Summer 6, but he wasn't a summer unit. And then they featured him again in 7 and made him a summer unit for 7. So this is where it's like, it's really weird. They seemingly have no rules. I just kind of go with my gut instinct on some of these things that I think would be popular. You'll see me choose a couple, and that's kind of what we'll do. So as I'm going through here, units that I think could definitely be a popular summer form. Again, Ku, obviously, for obvious reasons. Alexander's actually apparently really popular with women over in Japan. So that is what that is. God, I would love to see Summer Herc, but I don't really think it's likely to happen. Same thing with Kintoki. And again, a lot of this boils down to what do you think is going to be the event, and who do you think plays into it. They kind of have gone on the record as having said they're somewhat idea-less when it comes to summer. They teased volleyball, and then we didn't really have a volleyball summer last year, so maybe that's this year, but I don't know. If it's not that, then they don't really have an idea from what they've told us. But again, they can come up with one, so it just really depends. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't had a summer Karna, but Karna does already have a costume. Same thing with Astolfo. I'm just going to be honest and say, yeah, I can absolutely see Astolfo getting a summer costume. Ozzy? Yeah, I think Summer Ozzy's another easy hit. God, again, Knights of the Rounds, we know they actually have summer outfits. They just haven't ever been put into the game. So that's another one where it's like they've missed that all those years, and you really wonder why they haven't done it prior to now. Because it's a really easy, like, hey, you've kind of already done half the work type deal. You know what? Just based off that alone, all the male knights, since we already know they have the form. And if you think about it too, this might actually be, if they did want to go the route of like Morgan Le Fay and the Fairy Knights, they could almost do a like Camelot Summer, which is weird because they kind of already did back in Summer 4. I don't think it would be the most popular of plays for them to do if they did that, but it would make a lot of sense, at least narratively, to do that. God, I really want to see King Hassan with a summer outfit. Just like those artworks of him being a lifeguard and stuff. Arthur we already know as well, and he is featured on a Summer Sea. Look, you can't blame me for this one. Again, I could definitely see like Paco swinging back in and putting Arjuna Alter into a speedo or swim trunks. In fact, we actually did get to see him basically do that with actually no, maybe it was Redrop, I think, that did it with Hot Wheels. They could end up doing one of these two. But I think far more likely would be this right here. Again, a summer form for Muramasa with a easy Muramasa banner alongside. Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. Still a bit too new for him, but he'll be another super popular one. And let's see, what else? God, Izo already has so many costumes, but he is popular. He is popular. So I definitely got to throw Izo in there. Trying to think, is there another like 4-star I could see them doing here? Maybe Rama for Sita Summer? Oberon and swim trunks? They could. Oberon is popular. I definitely can see that being a thing. I'm not sure how likely it is, but I definitely can see that, especially if they go that like Camelot, Avalon Le Fae type route. Let me do maybe like 1 or 2 more here. Percival 2 since night? Sure, why not? Um, I can see Beowulf playing water polo. Beowulf probably wouldn't be that bad. He is a little scarred up, but chicks dig scars. I can't say that with a straight face. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I could see it, but it really depends. You know what? There's not too many other 4 stars. Let's go ahead and throw them in. I think they could do it. OG Gil. So the only reason I don't have OG Gil in here is because Cass Gil already had an actual like summer form, so I could see that being a thing. But yeah, okay, I'll basically stick with this. The highly likely isn't bloated for once. Likely is a little bit more bloated, but again, I consider these misses if one of these shows up. I do think Castoria is a little less likely to occur, but in a weird way, she's been out longer, so you might actually see a Castoria before you were to see the Fairy Knights. So it really just depends. I do agree with you guys. I think Korean Sky is a little fast, but hey, I could definitely see some of these. And any one of these from the likely category could easily jump up into highly likely. It's just the unlikely category I rarely, if ever, get wrong. I think I've only ever had one unit that I rated as unlikely actually end up be a summer unit that year. So we'll see. Maybe they'll make me look like a fool this year, but let me know what you guys think for the actual summer predictions. Who do you guys see them doing? Try not to pick everything that's, just big booba waifus or all lollies or something like that, right? Like, try to go with a striation, a variance in your guesses, and let me know what you think they'll actually do this year. Or again, just who would you like to see them do? I'll see you guys for the next one. Have a good one.